It's Hot, where we talk about the stories that have everybody talking.
And we're joined by Tracy Johnson from Temple, Milwaukee. Plus, Jeff Wagner is in the house. An Alaska lawmaker wants state-funded pregnancy test kiosks and dispensers installed in restaurants and bars that sell alcohol. He hopes women will check to see if they're pregnant before they start drinking. What are your thoughts on this one?
Is there no extent to which the government has to go to meddle in people's lives? I mean, look, I understand that women who are pregnant should not drink to excess. Some people, they say they shouldn't drink at all, but I don't know about that. But do we really need the government to now pay for pregnancy tests in bars, assuming that somebody might not know they're pregnant, so they're going to check it out at government and taxpayer expense before they have a cocktail? Come on.
Well, but the whole theory is really they're talking about eradicating fetal alcohol syndrome, and that there's a group that is just really committed to doing this at all costs, and this is just one of the ways that they're doing it. They're saying that 90% of the time, women that know they're pregnant won't drink, and I would think that on the front end, this would be less expensive than the costs associated with fetal alcohol syndrome.
Tracy, let's. I live in this thing called the real world, all right? I mean, okay, so let's kind of play this out. I'll get the female perspective here. Okay, you go out with a couple of your girlfriends to a bar. Before you have a drink, are you really going to walk into the ladies' room, take the pregnancy test, wait around to see if it turns pink or blue or whatever? I mean, who's going to do right? Nobody's going to do this.
I don't think it's realistic, but let's just say that it's the first step in having a conversation about what are some realistic ways that we can bring this to people's attention. I look at it similar to, the breathalyzer in a car, and I think there's a slippery slope here in terms of accountability and making sure that if people take the test and if they are pregnant and they decide to drink anyway, I think that you're asking for a lot of problems.
Well, I think you're looking at a problem, fetal alcohol syndrome, but I don't know if this is the solution. I mean, I think if you get the dialogue going, I just don't know. Even if you have those breathalyzers, I mean, we find people who always come up with creative ways to get around them anyway.
Well, right, or to your point, Charles, the problem with fetal alcohol syndrome, I really doubt that it's some woman, in the first couple of weeks of her pregnancy who has a couple beers. It's more likely the person who's 7 months pregnant who's drinking a case of beer a night. That's what you got to deal with the issue.
Right. I don't think it's realistic. I think it's silly that the government would have to pay for it, but I do appreciate that a group is taking the measures to start the conversation, and maybe we can negotiate to some sort of realistic.
Do you think an idea like this could come out of any place in the country except Alaska?
California.
California?
And Madison. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that the incidence is probably higher there, and so there's a reason for doing that.
Anybody want to guess the political party of the representative who come up with this idea?
No, this was a Republican, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, because wants to control people's lives in that regard.
There you go. Coming up next, we reveal the viewer's choice topic of the day.
And Jesse Ritka is back with another look at your forecast.
Again, we're joined today by Tracy Johnson and Jeff Wagner. The viewer's choice topic of the day. Support for a friend fighting cancer got a student banned from school in Colorado. This girl shaved her head to show support for her friend. The school does have a detailed dress code. Shaved heads, not allowed. But after a firestorm on social media, she has been allowed back at school. We talk about these zero tolerance policies a lot around here.
And usually I support them. But this time, I think that this girl should have been given a pass. Maybe let's look at the code, maybe say, listen, we've got this rule, but I totally understand. Let's celebrate that she's doing a good thing. I applaud this young lady.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a reason for the rule. I typically support dress codes within reason, and I understand at this particular school why they've got a rule against shaved heads, just like they've got a number of other rules as well. Now, in a perfect world, do you need that rule? I don't know. But I think it's not necessarily unreasonable. But I do think you have to look at the circumstances behind these sort of things. In this particular case, this 9-year-old was doing a very, very good thing. Her heart was in the right place. It's not, I think, a distraction like the real reasons you've got dress codes. To me, this is no harm, no foul. Let's move on.
Well, I don't understand the whole shaved head thing. I know so many people with shaved heads because they don't know what to do with their hair. I have a friend who's...
That's a little extreme from having a bad hair day to just take it all off.
Well, I think it's a silly rule. I'm surprised that would be part of a dress code.
Well,
anyway.
I think they're probably, I don't know if necessarily, but first of all, you're talking about kids.
That's the thing.
You're
We're
talking about young
about
kids. It's elementary school, and I think their concern is they don't want the mohawks and that type of stuff, and this is just a way to get around it. But in this particular case, I think we all agree, move on.
Yeah. Let's move on to the lightning round. A Texas teen turns the tables on an officer. Get this. She saw a police car illegally parked in her neighborhood and issued the officer a handwritten $10 ticket. She told the officer to pay the ticket to the apartment manager. He paid it and gave the teen a reward.
Okay, I love this girl, and here's why. In the community where I live, they are very, very aggressive about like issuing parking tickets and parking meters. I can't tell you how many times I've watched the parking checker park illegally somewhere to get out and ticket other people, you know, who are expired meters or whatever. To me, it's always kind of like, well, okay, I understand you're going to issue this ticket, but don't you realize you're parked illegally issuing the ticket?
Well, here's your cue, Jeff. Here's your cue. Learn from this little girl.
Absolutely.
I think we have a future police officer on our hands. Not only did she do it and she was in the right, but she did it with a smile, and it all turned out right.
And he paid the ticket. That's the other thing. Instead of saying, okay, no, it's not my problem, you know, go away, he paid the ticket. He did the right thing.
Or give her a ticket for giving her a ticket and smarten off. I don't know.
See, I'm now thinking about this maybe. Okay, maybe this is how I deal with this issue, huh?
Watch out, Whitefish Bay Police, right?
Jeff's going to be out there with his notepad putting tickets on everybody's cars.
Just let us know when we should be there for the video.
All right. The What's Hot discussion will continue online. Find that page at tmj4.com/hot.